Hey everybody, welcome back to the family channel.
Hello.
We hope you guys are having a fantastically awesome day so far. Our day is going pretty good, although the hunt for the snakes still continues. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, we streamed Garen's hockey game live yesterday, just after I realized one of my snakes has escaped downstairs, which might sound like nothing serious, and it's not really serious, but the problem is finding him, because we've still got loads of insulation and that down there, so it's going to be a bit of a struggle, but I'm going to go down after we film the game today and see if I can find him.
Hiding place.
Yeah, there's so many hiding places. I'm a bit gutted. I don't know how he got out. I didn't leave anything open or anything, but snakes are escape artists, so yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in myself that I didn't spot it earlier. But I know he's only been gone a day because I fed him the day before, so that's a good thing. Hopefully he hasn't got too far down there and he can't get up here, which is good, because otherwise Cat would have probably found him already. Anyway, today we are reacting to the don'ts of Amtrak train travel in the USA, because this is obviously one of the options for the future, isn't it? If we want to see a lot of things in the easiest way, I suppose, is probably jump on a nice long train and just go for a travel. I think it's the Amtrak that does the long one. So yeah, I quite like a train travel if it's spacious. I don't like the ones where like commuter trains, like the London Tube is horrible.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I hate that train. It's smelly and you've got someone standing with their arm right in your face. You've got their armpit right in your face. Good times. Anyway, if you guys haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you want to support the channel, please use our Amazon affiliate link, which is down in the description. It won't cost you anything, but we get a tiny little percentage of any orders you make, and then that goes towards our savings to hopefully come to America. Anyway, without further ado, let's check out the don'ts of Amtrak train travel in the US. That's quite a tongue tie.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're here in Mystic, Connecticut. We're at the Amtrak station, about ready to head off to Boston. What I thought I'd give you today are the don'ts of traveling with Amtrak, or the don'ts of traveling by train in the US, okay? Now, there's two kind of overall themes with my don'ts in this video. One are the don'ts for when you're on the train, and one set is the don'ts that you should know just about Amtrak in general and booking and things like that. And I'm going to start when we're on the train. And the first don't I have for you when you're on the Amtrak is, don't pretend like you're asleep in order to take up two seats. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten on a train here and gotten on an Amtrak and everybody's asleep. I'm like, dude, it's 10:30 in the morning or 11 o'clock in the morning. There's none of you that are sleeping. The sun is blazing through you.
See, I never did that. Oh, bless you. I never pretended I was asleep. I'd just wet myself and start screaming and no one would ever sit next to me.
Beautiful views out the side. There's no way everyone's asleep, but people would pretend because they don't want somebody sitting next to them. Look, don't pretend like you're asleep because people already know you're not asleep, okay? And the thing is
this is fair. I don't want someone sitting next to me.
Northeast corridor and stuff like that, they do get pretty full, and so they need those seats. So just know that no one's going to believe you're actually asleep, okay? So put your feet down and do that. Now, if there's nobody there, feel free to take a nap and do that, but honestly, you'll be fine. Because my next don't for you is when you're on the Amtrak trains, okay, and you're getting your tickets, don't think that the coach class, the economy class, kind of tickets, equal economy class seating in an airplane. Look, on the trains, on the Amtrak trains, you've got a lot more space, okay? You don't necessarily have to sit in business class to get tons of room. It's actually quite nice in that way that, oh man, I can actually spread out. I don't get smushed. I'm a fat guy, and I can put the tray down and work on the tray in economy as well, or coach class too. So don't worry about that. Now, another thing with that seat next to you.
See, I think I would still always spring. If I can afford it, I'll get the extra leg room because I've got long legs, man.
Yeah.
I'm tall.
I mean, the Slovak trains are pretty good for leg room, isn't it?
Yeah, well, when you get like the one we went on to Czech Republic was nice.
Yeah, because you can actually get like a cabin.
Like a cabin, yeah.
So basically, like the whole cabin is. There's no other passengers, it's yours, and you can like spread really nicely.
It was basically like that on the way back from.
Yes.
We had the whole thing. It was nice. Like Leia, I think was it Leia or Garen? They were lying down.
Yeah.
It was nice. We had a load of room. But if I can, even on flying, I hate going on a plane because I've got long legs. I'm always cramped. Yeah, it's horrible.
Another don't is don't put your luggage in the seat next to you, okay? The conductor will come by and tell you, hey, don't put your luggage there. Put it above your seat in the overhead compartment, or put it at the end of the carriage. There's a place for luggage there a lot of the times. And the thing is that luggage rack above your seat is way bigger than what you get on an airplane, so you've got plenty of space when you're there, okay? So don't feel that you have to put it there, because they'll probably ask you to move it. And kind of another don't I have for you with those conductors, don't disrespect the conductors. I found the conductors that go through the Amtrak trains have been very friendly, very helpful, very informative with stuff, and they help you out. They're more service-oriented than the Amtrak kind of brand is associated with. Like, look, those conductors are nice and helpful and kind of stuff, and Amtrak doesn't always have that same connotation, but they are, so don't
It's
mess
a
with
weird job, eh?
Yeah.
Imagine going on and you just have to go do that long journey and then come back.
Yeah, I was always thinking that, like, what kind of a job is
I
that?
suppose it's like a lorry, like a truck driver,
Yeah.
in a sense. But flipping heck, imagine doing that every day
Yeah.
or every other day. This long ass journey.
with them because they can throw you off the train, okay?
While it's
if
moving.
you're causing problems, if you're being disruptive and things like that. So just have a heads up for that. Another thing is when you see the conductors come by, you'll see at your seat, they'll poke a little ticket. They'll ask, hey, where are you going? Or they'll check your ticket, say, hey, where are you going? And they write it down on a piece of paper and then stuff this little piece of paper above your seat. That indicates, one, that someone's sitting there, so you have your seat kind of saved. And two, it says where you're getting off. Because my next don't for you is don't think that Amtrak announces the stops.
Oh,
Look,
no.
if you're going to Boston or New York, yes, they will announce those stops. But if you're going to smaller places like Mystic here, they do not announce those stops.
I'd
What
get
they
lost.
do is the
Okay.
conductors know where people are getting off based on those tickets, and they go through and let you know, hey, just so you know, the next stop is Mystic, okay? So don't take down that ticket because that's how you know where you're going, but that's also how they know who to let know what stop is next.
Oh, that's
My
clever,
next
eh?
note that goes along with that is don't assume that all the doors open on the trains at every stop. Look, we're here in Mystic, Connecticut. I mean, this is a small
Yeah, it's got
platform.
a short
They
platform.
only open like 2 or 3 doors when they stop here. The train has like 20 doors that comes through. Make sure you don't ignore the conductor because they're going to come through before and say, hey, just so you know, this stop, if you want to get out, you've got to go, a train up or two train cars
Oh.
up to get out on that door on the left or the right or whatever.
at the
Just so
train
you know,
journeys.
because
Look at that. That's cool, eh? I'd like to go.
Yeah.
Obviously, not on our first trip over there, but
No.
like one day, maybe when the kids have moved out and we want to go do something like leisurely,
Yeah,
we
let's
can get.
go on a train journey.
Yeah, look, from New York, you can go all the way that way.
Nice.
Yeah, one day.
Because otherwise, I've seen people that are like, hey, why won't the door open? I'm like, they're going to leave without you. You got to make sure you get to that correct door. That's why don't take down that ticket because it helps them know where you're going to get on or off, okay? So that also leads into another don't ignore the conductor when you get on because they might indicate, hey, you're going to get off at Mystic. You're going to want to get in car 5 or car 6 or something like that because that's going to be closer to the one
So
you
much
let off.
information I
And
would
that
just
helps kinda,
forget.
like mitigate too many people in one spot or you having to run through the train to get your stuff there. So there's that. Well, we'll let the train go by.
It's so interesting now.
Mm-hmm.
Something we're not used to.
Yeah. He looks so happy.
So the train that just went by, that's an Acela. That's the fast train here in the U.S. that goes from Boston down to D.C. You can take that. That's like our probably fastest train here in the U.S. It's still not super fast, but it is faster than a typical kind of train. Has less stops. Obviously didn't stop here in Mystic. So you might have, if you're going to go to a smaller town, you might get a regional train or something like that, okay? Now, another don't that I have for you that relates to these faster trains and stuff like that is don't expect the trains to be like in Europe or in Japan or stuff like that. I mean, that was the fast train, but even the fast train here is kind of like a regional express. In
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything. That train didn't look that fast in
No.
compared to like what we've been used to. Although the trains here in Slovakia aren't that fast, are they? The ones
Well,
in the UK were.
It depends which area, because like
True.
our area, they can't go fast because the train lines run by the water and it's kind of like
Oh,
the trains
yeah,
are
it's like tilted. It feels weird when
so
you-
they have to go obviously slower. But once they get onto the area where it's actually like
Hmm.
straight, then they go faster.
And
Not
some of the
faster.
some of the tunnels here are really long as
Long,
well because it goes
yeah.
straight through the mountains. So yeah.
Germany or someplace like that. So do have a heads up with that one. Now the thing is, the U.S. is very large, okay? So you're going to be on the train for a while when you're going places. What's cool is don't forget to bring your plug. Look, Most of the Amtrak trains actually have plugs
Same as
next to
here, no?
the seat, and not just one that you have to fight over with the person you're sitting next to, but they give you 2 plugs. So there's a plug for each person that's there.
Bring your
and
kettle,
that's really
make
cool.
yourself a coffee.
Also, they do have Wi-Fi on a lot of the trains, so I mean, it's not. Don't expect fast Wi-Fi, but they do have it on a lot of the trains, so you can stay connected and stay charged up. So when you get to Boston, like we're going to, you can have enough juice in your phone that you can have the kids play on the phones and the iPads, but you can still take pictures too. So that's kind of cool. Some other don'ts I have for you is when you're getting on the train and you might be a little hungry, don't expect a culinary masterpiece from the cafe car. Look, it's a train, and the only thing they have to cook with is a microwave.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you know what microwave cooking is like. Yes, there's plenty of food and drinks to have when you're on the train, but you're just not going to be too happy with the food and the quality also. And also, it's a little pricey too. So don't forget to bring some food with you when you do come on,
What
some
is
drinks
that?
and some snacks and stuff, because it will make life a little easier and a lot cheaper. But I will say is don't bring stinky food, okay? If the food is overly stinky, they might say, hey, you can't eat that here. I mean, I would hope they would say that because it can be pretty gross because, ooh, Limburger, you know, your Limburger sandwich, that can stay at home, okay?
Limburger.
Oh, but I will say, sometimes you do get a surprise at some of the good stuff that's on there. For example, I took the Vancouver down to Seattle train. It goes down to Portland, Oregon, too. And they had Ivar's clam chowder on there. Oh, my God. It was so good. I'm like, wait a minute. This is amazing. And it's on a train? Yes. So they do have some stuff that's okay, but I just want to give you the heads up for that. Oh, yeah. Going back to our Limburger stinky cheese sandwich, another don't I have for you is don't take your shoes off if your feet stink. It's like farts. You know if your fart stinks, you know if your feet stink, okay?
It's like
so
farts.
If you know they do, don't take your shoes off. It's kind of gross. But you know what?
It is gross. I freaking hate that. Even on planes.
Yeah.
When someone takes their shoes off and then they put their
Like,
feet on the
rude.
chair. Oh.
It's rude. No, like.
Yeah.
Okay, if you in your own like a cabin thing on a train, then fair enough. Take your shoes off, but not where there's other people.
Like, and also when they put their feet, you know, on the little armrests.
Worst.
Get off. Ugh.
And it's okay, but if they stink, just don't do that. But I will say about the barefoot stuff or no shoe stuff, don't walk around with your shoes off or barefoot on the train. They actually ask you to put your shoes on when you're walking around because of safety purposes. But what I think is most important is don't go into the bathrooms without your shoes on.
Why
Oh my
would
God,
you?
I see people going into bathrooms with socks or bare feet and they're walking in there and I'm thinking, we're on like a 4-hour train ride
public.
and trains go like this sometimes. So people are peeing and they're standing up and it's shaking all around. That's not water on the floor, okay? Even my 7-year-old goes, Dad, that's not water. I'm like, you're right.
Toilets on the train at the gross.
Yeah, even the ones here, they are so rank.
Like they are horrible. Like the new trains, because like they used to be like really old train carriages. They were horrible. The newer trains are okay-ish, but still,
They
it's
still
just like-
gross. They still gross. But it's
Yeah.
like any kind of public toilet. I would never go into any
No.
public toilet with no shoes on.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
I think those toilets in a train are like seriously like just like when you are proper desperate.
Yeah, maybe the ones at Bucky's. Apparently Bucky's got spotless. Maybe I'll go in barefoot in those.
Yeah.
Right, Liam, that's not water, okay? So please, don't forget to wear your shoes when you're walking around. all
But
right?
he had to
And
say
another
that
thing
is
a lot of
weird.
people have asked me about is about assigned seat or seat reservations. Look, when you book with Amtrak, none of the seats are reserved, okay? So it's unreserved seating. So you're coming and you're looking for a seat. So if you're coming
Okay.
and you're getting on after a busy station, you might not get to sit next to your person because there are no reservations. But I will say, when you do book, if you're going to get a sleeping car, well, those ones do get kind of a reservation kind of thing, depending on what car you sleeping car you book. So there is that, okay? So what I want to go into now are some of the overall don'ts of riding Amtrak, some things you should know. And one is don't wait to book your tickets because the closer you get to your departure date, the higher the prices go and the seats
Yeah, it's
do
like
sell
everywhere
out.
though, isn't
Because
it?
even though they're not reserved seats, there's only a certain number of seats they can sell on a train, and so there might not be tickets left. And if you want to go in business class or in a sleeper car for like, Chicago, New Orleans or something like that on the city of New Orleans, you do need to book those earlier so you make sure you get there.
I'd love to go in a sleeper car.
From Chicago to New Orleans, that's a nice journey.
I'd love to go in a sleeper car. I'd love to, like that train that.
Yeah.
It must like rock you to sleep.
one I have for you is don't think that riding Amtrak equals a cheap ticket. So I was looking for tickets from New York to LA, okay? So you can fly there or you can take the train there. One's like in 5 hours and one's in, almost 2 days. And the thing is when I booked early and I got like the economy super saver thing, it was like $250, something like that. If I went first class, it was $1,400. And that was booking like a month out, all right? Don't think it's going to be cheap. That's why if you're going to be going long distances, you might want to compare maybe a flight versus Amtrak, just so you know. But the thing is, if you're going short distances, like from Mystic here to Boston or where I live to Chicago, couple hour train ride, the prices actually are pretty cheap, so that's kind of cool. It's just that for the really long distance ones, don't expect it to be cheap. But I will say is, don't worry too much about your baggage when you do go take Amtrak, because you can take 2 big suitcases with you, no problems. They're not as strict as the airlines kind of stuff. Also, if you want to check bags, yes, you can do that. You can check up to 4, I think is the rules now.
County looks
and that's
nice,
cool.
eh?
What I'm going to tell you is, if you need some other extra time, don't be scared to ask for red cap service. The red caps are the people that help you get on the train, get off the train, and help put people's luggage on the train and stuff like that. They do have that. So I know if I've seen people that have used that, and if you got too much stuff, or you're moving, or you just got tons of things, or maybe limited mobility, let them know, and the red caps will really help you out.
Look at the train station even. It looks so clean. Like I should go film here by our train station. There's graffiti everywhere. And
But it's not like filthy.
There's cigarette butts everywhere and stuff like that.
Some of the main stations, they actually have a luggage area where that comes out and stuff like that. So if you don't want to deal with your luggage on the train, they can do that for you, which I think is really cool. Now, when you're booking tickets, I know I already said don't wait to book, but there's some things you should know. One, don't forget to look for discounts. So you can sign up for your Amtrak rewards, or maybe you have some kind of discounts that are on there. There's discounts
Cat loves
for
a
kids
discount
or
code
seniors
and a
stuff
reward.
like that. Do check those discounts because they can save you some money. Also, I know I said the long distance ones can get pricey, but in the shorter distance ones, a couple hours, 3 or 4 hours, don't be scared to look at the difference between the business class fare and the coach fare, because actually sometimes it's not that much of a difference. And I've actually booked up because I'm like, man, for only an extra $20, why not? And that's why you'll see some of the videos on here. There's a first class stuff because at the time I'm like, hey, why not take that? Now the last 2 don'ts I have for you are more a serious variety. One, don't always expect Amtrak trains to be on time.
I don't expect any train to be on
system
time.
where everything runs like clockwork. So do have some leeway in your schedule for a late arrival. Now I will say this, some lines are really good. The Northeast Corridor, the Boston to DC lines, they're pretty much on time. They're pretty good, okay? But if you're going, across the country, I know like the lines from Chicago, we take, it seems to be always delayed. Just know that that's not uncommon, okay? So make sure you're planning at that window. Don't be like, oh, we're going to take the train. It says it gets in at 3, and then I can take the L out to the airport in Chicago, which is about 30, 45 minutes, and then we can check in, and we'll be there just fine because we'll get there 3 hours before our flight. I can't tell you how many students I've had that have missed flights because the train to Chicago was delayed, and then therefore they missed their flight because they cut it too close. So just give yourself extra time if you are doing that. And the thing is, you can go online and see how
I don't miss them, man.
your line is, because they keep all that stuff. I think it's like a 90-day rolling window of like how's our on-time ratings been, just to give you an idea. So have a heads up for that. But don't think all are late, but just be prepared in case it is, because you might end up getting in late at 9 to some place and things like that. And my last note is kind of a safety thing. One thing is, don't expect every single station to have a station. Sometimes it's just a little kiosk, like a little shelter or something like that. I mean, heck, the Mystic, Connecticut station, that's actually a coffee house, okay? There's no board up there. There's nothing like that. So don't expect to have a station. And I guess to go along with that is, don't spend too much time in the station before or after your train's coming through, because I've seen actually, not here, but like in Boston and Chicago and stuff, in New York, I've seen a lot of beggars that have been going through, and some are aggressive, some aren't so aggressive, but it is one of those things you do want to take care of. But, it's nothing really bad, it's just something to have a heads up for. So I hope this helps you know a little bit more about taking the train in the U.S. It is great. We do it quite often. I mean, the views when you go through, sometimes you're like, man, you want to ask, hey, which side should we sit on? I know
Big
when you're
hall,
coming down from Vancouver. They're like, oh, sit on the right side going down because you can see the water. I'm like, would I want to see the mountains? No, you don't see the mountains when you're coming down that way. You see the water. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And so you do have.
That's a good point.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I hope you have a great time taking the train. All aboard on Amtrak because it is worth trying out. And the thing is if you don't want to, rent a car and do stuff like that when you come to the U.S., if you're coming to the Northeast.
I'm just going to end it there. I think his videos are so helpful. I mean, he's traveled, eh? He's been all over, lucky bugger.
Yeah.
I'd love to be doing that.
Oh yeah.
And they got I think it's 2 small kids.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, pretty shocked with some of the train stuff. Like, like the doors doesn't
Oh, yeah, but
that the old doors don't open on every station.
But that makes sense. I mean, if it's got a short platform,
Yeah.
I mean, which station was it in the UK that used to do that as well? But then they announce it. They're like, please start making your way forward because we're only opening 3 carriages or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't know.
The fact that they don't announce what station is coming up.
Yeah.
Whoa, we got that in Slovakia. I'm sorry, but we are so behind.
And now you know why Ross from Friends missed this stop.
Oh yeah.
I would end up doing that. I'd fall asleep and just end up somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I'd love to go do one of those long train journeys. But like he says, I wouldn't do it as a trip to get there.
No.
I would do it for the adventure of the train itself.
We would probably do it with a lot of stopovers as well.
Yeah. That's it though. Every time it stops, we'll try to
Have a
plan
nice
it.
coffee shop. Let's go and have a coffee.
Yeah, or a beer, or let's have some cake or whatever. Anyway, guys, I know this video may not be for everyone, but it was something we were quite interested in checking out because we got to weigh up all our options. Now, this is not something I think we'll do on our first ever trip, because we want to meet more people and do some other things. But this is something maybe for me and you in the future, because I think the kids might go a bit mad on there after a while. But like for me and you, it's perfect. Because if I get irritated with you, I can just take a walk to the other end. And same with you. If you get irritated with me, you go take a walk to the other end of the train. Yeah, with no shoes on. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening. And we will see you in the next video. Bye.